Welcome to What Matters Most. My name is Eric Anzalone, and today we're at Farmers Hope Inn in Mannheim, Pennsylvania. Now, about 10 years ago, Terri Brown and her husband Tim acquired this property, which dates back to the 1700s. And at the time, Farmers Hope was in dire need of an overhaul. Together, Tim and Terri literally brought Farmers Hope back to life. And the result is what you see here today, and what you don't see. Back in 1812, the Americans were fighting the British again. The French were fighting the Russians. The world was coming apart at the seams. But about the time that Napoleon was probably regretting his decision to conquer Russia, here in Mannheim, Pennsylvania, Farmers Hope Inn officially became a spirited tavern. Oh, and there's Terri. Terri, hi, how are you? Have a seat. So, only years after purchasing Farmers Hope Inn did Terri start to notice some strange occurrences, but it wasn't until those weird happenings were substantiated and witnessed by patrons that Terri stopped, listened, and decided to uncover the truth of Farmers Hope Inn. And indeed, the very floorboards of this place are permeated with hidden charm. And we're here today to confirm, dare I say prove, that love never dies. So Terri,
yes.
Did you always want to own an inn, a tavern?
I can honestly, truthfully say, never did the words, I would like to own a bar and restaurant and bed and breakfast ever cross my lips until I found this place. Or should I say, the place found me. I totally believe that this place picked me out of a lineup as probably stupid enough to renovate this place and bring it back to life. I really
How
do
did
believe
you hear about this place?
Actually, we owned an adjoining property in an auto service business. We used to nickname this the Bates Motel. We used to always say, oh, if that place ever went for sale, we would buy it because it would be frontage for our cars. So about a year later, an elderly couple that owned this came up to our business and said, do you want to buy this property? And we bought it initially for frontage for our cars.
Did they tell you that this place had a history of being haunted? Or?
No, I don't believe they had any clue about it being haunted.
What exactly is the history of the inn and some of its previous owners?
The land was warranted in 1765 by Simon Bratz. He was the original landowner. It was established as a tavern in 1812. That was with John Koch. Now, the Koches had it in their family for about 100 years till he passed it to his son. Then it was passed on, William Hull bought it, who was a very good friend of Milton Hershey.
What year was that? And what year?
Right in the 1900, around 1900.
All right.
And then after that, it had several owners. Stanley Pfeiffer was one of the next one, and he's another spirit that resides here. Only he's a moved on spirit, so I'm told, is that he is like kind of the caretaker. He loved this place, but he's from about the 1940s or 50s.
Do you know how many ghosts you have in the
I think somebody gave me a count of 11.
With so many different spirits floating around, did you ever get the idea like, that's it, we're out of here?
No, it totally fascinated me. I had
Really?
the totally opposite effect.
Well, all this talk of ghosts and spirits has got me thirsty for some spirits.
There you go. We have those too.
Yeah, so why don't we go on inside and see what's going on?
All right, sounds great.
Cool, come on.
All right. This is the steps where the lady was seen in the long dress.
Oh, my date for tonight.
Yeah, she comes up and down the steps. And that was what they would call a residual haunting. It's an energy that the building has absorbed. Yeah. And it's really not an actual ghost, more like the story that keeps playing over and over again.
And this is where I'll be sleeping tonight.
Yes, and the soldier he was supposedly a Confederate soldier who was really mortally wounded, and he happened upon the inn, and they were not sympathizers, but they were kind people who wanted to help a person who was wounded. So even though he was a Confederate, they helped him, and unfortunately, I believe he died.
Room?
Yes. So I believe that he died, and then they took all of his stuff and put it in a trunk and buried it somewhere out back. And the psychics who have told me about it believe that it is buried here on the property someday.
Have you ever tried to dig it up?
Yes, once, and I was in the wrong spot. So I don't think, I think I have to wait a little while and they'll show me where it is. Now these, I named them for them. I'm not sure whether they have an association with them at all, but this one's named after the Elizabeth's mother, Sarah, and the room next to her is for Elizabeth. It's kind of, I gave Elizabeth, the little girl, the prettiest room that looks out onto the garden because I know she's supposed to love butterflies and flowers, and that's where they are out there. So, and I put her mother's room right beside her, kind of to pay homage to them because I believe they weren't really the queens of the household in their time, so I think now they've become the queens of my household.
Well, whose room or what room do you?
We called this one for Charles, the little boy that was buried on this property, and his story is that he was a child of a stagecoach driver here who used to drive the coach that stopped here, and he died here. He had, how Jamie called it, consumption, which was TB.
Tuberculosis,
Yes, and he died on this property, so they buried him here. They think underneath the willow, the pussy willow tree. So, this one I named for Elizabeth because it does have the neat old furniture in it, and you know I got it, and it looks out onto the garden. So it was like this was the pretty, you know, like I said, it was more like a little girl's room to me. So I named this for her. This one I named for Stanley because it's the largest room and it's the coolest, you know, it's nice. He, I believe, is our protector. And this room, actually, I had a couple of musicians who are from Nashville who stayed in this room. And they were 100 miles away until the other one told each other. The one guy was sleeping here and the other guy was there. And he said Ted was snoring in this bed, so he was wide awake. And he laid there and he had the sheet down like this. And he said he felt this cold breeze go over his back. Then he heard the lamp move. And then he said, and then he felt this. On the sound that makes, and he felt that on his ear. And he said it freaked him out so badly that he didn't even tell his buddy until he was 100 miles away. The next time they played here, they go, have Matt tell you the story. And I was like, oh, you had an experience too. So yeah, it's almost like something's there to make me know that it's true, because they know I'm a skeptic. I'm really a skeptical natured person. I want proof. I want valid proof. And I mean, there's another little ugly room, but we don't have to put that one. Actually, that's John's room. Oh. That's why we named it. We named that one for John because it's not the prettiest room. And I probably shouldn't disrespect him so much, but I felt like he wasn't the nicest guy. Oh. So we don't give him the nicest room. Yeah, so this is kind of like, it needs repainted. And, you know, it's not a very good view. So maybe I should elevate his status a little. Maybe he would be a little nicer. I don't know. You know. Do you want to go down to the basement?
Oh, yeah, we have to see the basement.
Okay, then let's go down to the basement. That's the next door.
Wow, I love old basements.
Yeah, it's like, I'm getting up. What used to go on is that when this was called a public house, and in those days, if somebody died in the wintertime, they would bring them to the public house and bury them in the basement.
Yeah, where it was cold.
And then take them outside when the ground thawed. Yeah. But they believed that maybe there's a strong possibility that the soldier might have been buried in here and then never taken back up and moved out there. They believe there's a possibility he could be here too. And I always find it strange that this is the only part that was not concreted in here. If these walls could talk, they could tell a lot of stories. I think there's secrets buried here. I think that's why they're showing themselves, because something needs to be known. They don't show themselves for no reason. So, someone.
Whoa, what is that? It's hailing?
Oh my goodness, there's got to be a rainbow.
Holy crap.
Isn't that something? Oh my God. Oh, there has to be a rainbow somewhere.
Ow!
Oh, get in.
Well, I was going to try to catch one.
God, I hope they don't ruin my food. Isn't that something?
Ow!
What are the...
Oh yeah, look. Look at these things.
That's amazing.
That is a big chunk of ice.
That is really something. That is hailing.
It's a sign. It's going to be a good night.
That is a very weird sign. Right there, look. Right there's the rainbow.
Oh my God.
Look at it.
Darkness has fallen, and so has the hail. And now we're in the dining room of the historic Farmers Hope Inn, and we're not alone. And seriously, we're not alone. I mean, look at all these people here, all right? Come on, give yourselves a round of applause. Fabulous. All right. Now, my first guest tonight, Jamie Woods, at the age of 4, had a near-death experience. Actually, she died twice on the operating table after her appendix burst. Jamie is best described as a psychic medium who specializes in the unfinished business of the spirit world. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Woods. Because we kind of talked about this earlier, it was such a fascinating story. How old were you when you realized that you had a gift?
I guess I was around the age of 5 years old, and I realized I was different when I seen my grandfather in the corner. He had just passed away, and we were at the wake, and people were crying, and I seen the form of him standing there, and he told me things about my family that I shouldn't have known, and I kind of scared everyone.
So a ghost then is somebody who hasn't crossed over, or somebody has? I'm a little confused.
A ghost is a spirit that, for some reason, either unfinished business or they're afraid they're going to be judged harshly, doesn't go to the light when they die. They die and they don't go up towards the light. They don't go to heaven. They stay earthbound.
Why would someone be afraid of going to heaven?
I think that they believe in a hell, and they believe that whatever they did on earth, that they're going to be judged, and that they're not going to go, God's going to judge them, and they're going to go to hell. Or sometimes they don't cross over because they died too quickly. They don't want to believe they're dead. They want to still be alive. They don't want to go to heaven.
Okay, and is there a difference between a ghost and a residual spirit?
Residual spirit is, I don't know if it's what you call it, spirit. Residual is just energy that's been left in the house. That there's no spirit left there. It's just repeat of history, something that's happened. If a traumatic event happens in a house or in a building or somewhere, it stores the energy. The place stores that energy and it replays it. But there's no intelligence there.
But there are ghosts that haven't crossed over here, or you don't know? Or...
There's definitely ghosts here that haven't crossed over.
Okay. Now, John, Sarah, and Elizabeth. Like 3 biggies here. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yes, John was the old owner of the inn, who was one of the original owners, and he was an older man when Sarah came to work for him. Sarah was one of the workers here, and he liked the young girls. He liked to chase them around and, you know, like you do in a bar.
Yeah, okay.
But he fell in love, I believe he fell in love with Sarah, and they had a child named Elizabeth. And Sarah died shortly after she gave birth to Elizabeth.
Okay, and that's not the end of the story, though, because it gets a little more dicey,
yeah,
right?
John's still here, too, and because he feels that he's going to be judged harshly if he goes towards the light. He accidentally, it was not on purpose, he pushed Elizabeth down the steps, and she got internal bleeding. She died. Accidentally
and push don't usually go together in the same sentence.
He was a drinker. He liked to drink.
Oh, okay.
And he was an ornery old man, and she was supposed to be upstairs at dark time when, you know, the bar people started coming in, and she didn't want to go, and he got mad at her and he pushed her down the steps.
How old was she?
I believe she's around 6 or 7.
Yeah, that's. Did she die right away?
I believe she died within a few hours. Yeah.
So she died here in this place.
She died in the basement.
So every time you come here, do you kind of say hello to everyone, or do they sense you're here? They, oh, you know.
Well, there's a crossover spirit that comes all the time. Stanley, he stands by the front door and greets everybody. I do say hi to Stanley a lot. And sometimes you see Elizabeth playing. John, you can see him sitting in the corner. John sits in the back corner, and that's where he likes to drink at night.
Is he there right now?
No, not right now.
Okay. I was going to buy him a drink. Well, then that leads me to the question. It's also the name of the show. When you leave this place, when you cross over, what is that imprint, that residual energy, if you will, that you would like to leave with this planet? I mean, what matters most to you?
Love, absolutely love. God is love. And that's what I love in the Bible, where it says that God doesn't love, He is love. And that's what it's all about. We're here to love each other and to to get along. Just like he made us all different languages, all different colors, he made us worship him in all different ways. We're all here to worship differently, and love. God is love. Whatever energy you believe in, that is love.
That's it. We're gonna bring your friend Michelle up here.
Okay, good.
Okay, but ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Woods. Michelle Livingston holds a Master's of Education degree from Penn State University and is an internationally renowned psychic medium, artist, author, columnist, speaker, and she brings healing and comfort to countless people throughout the world. For the last 25 years, Michelle has conducted seminars, phone and in-person consultations, and has hosted her own psychic cruise, the Love Boat, on, I'm a dork, am I not? On the renowned and historic Delta Queen steamboat. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Livingston. What's your take on all this? Now, I know you've been here many times, but you just did a walkthrough yourself. Can you share some of what you felt? Or?
Well, what my take on it was, going up and down the steps is a person, whether it's a nurse, that's very loyal and very insistent on going up and down to help.
Yes.
Right, Jamie? Very loyal. Then what I got in that back bedroom is a Confederate soldier with a hat. Part of his spirit's here because he had a wife and a young baby, and he loved his horse, which was a chestnut horse with black mane and tail out there. So I can't imagine having your leg cut off without anesthesia. Yeah. So it's whiskey and it's the whole thing, and that's the horror part of it. I saw a lot of blood. I saw, you know, the leg amputated, whatever. I didn't see it actually happen. But Debbie said, you know, why would he still be here? And I said, he's not totally here. A part of his soul is here, and the other part is in heaven. And she said, why is the part of the soul here? And I said, because it's the emotions. It's the love of his baby girl and his wife and the horse. I saw the dirty boots, so the writhing in pain is not where he totally is. Part of him, if you can get the point, his soul's up here, right, Jamie, and part's down. Do you feel that?
Yeah, that's maybe why we can't get the name of the soldier, because it's not completely here.
Ah, got it.
Yeah, he doesn't talk, he doesn't communicate, he's just in pain. You just feel his pain.
Yes, and you're an empath, absolutely. He just kind of writhes in pain.
Do you sense that the woman who was helping him had feelings for him?
I think she had compassion. I think that she felt his pain, and she tried to help, because I see gauze and I see whiskey, and you know, as a Confederate coming up, I did see the sword. I don't know if you did, Jamie, but can you imagine a leg that was shot off from the knee down and having gangrene going up the thigh?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? I think they took a saw and just literally, there wasn't a doctor around, cut his his freaking leg off.
I just want to comment on what she said about the maid or the nurse. She's very loyal. That's why she keeps doing the same thing over and over. She's very, it must have been shocking to her. She probably never seen anything like it in her life, and here comes these soldiers, and they're getting their legs cut off, and she's got to take care of them. She's never done that before.
Oh, yeah. Why do you think that the maid is still here? That's residual, right? Or
it's
no?
a residual. Okay, the maid's here for love.
Yeah.
You can't destroy love. Love is energy. If she's a loyal, compassionate, devoted person, part of her soul energy is still here, wanting to serve, wanting to help, wanting, you know, to do things.
But like, most of us here have been in love or are in love, and so if, you know, the first house I bought with my now ex-wife, who I still love, but you know, not in that way anymore. But there was a lot of love in that house. I mean, would that love still be there? Like, why would her love still be here? Oh, because there was trauma involved.
And that's right. It's emotion.
Okay.
Whether the movie Ghost, down in the subway,
yeah,
how many of you seen the movie Ghost, Whoopi Goldberg?
Yes.
Down in the subway, doesn't that can fly across the subway? Why? Because the emotion of anger is there. So there's two emotions, love and fear, and they're very, very powerful, right, Jamie? So love,
it's the strong emotions that get stuck. It's not just your regular everyday emotion. You loved your wife, and it's an everyday thing. It's that strong, something very powerful happened here. A war happened here. A leg got cut off. It's that very strong emotion that gets stuck.
Now, was there anything else that you felt new tonight when you're walking around, or that you care to share?
I felt someone that died in childbirth. I felt hemorrhaging. I felt the lady was very anemic. She was very pale.
Were you thinking this was Sarah?
You know what? Have to be honest. I don't know. But in the one room, I felt panic. And a nurse was going up and down with gauze and hot water to help this birth. In those days, it was very patriarchal. The men ruled. I feel that she was more of a servant to him. I don't feel it was a mutual team effort. And I feel that all the children, which were a few that were born, that's how it was, in the 1800s. And to answer your question, he was an alcoholic. He was very abusive. He blacked out. He didn't care. That's how I feel about it.
And then do you think that he had a little resentment towards Elizabeth, which may have helped him accidentally push? Like this child represented something he wasn't
That's
really
why he didn't want her around at
want?
Yeah, and Jamie would know more than I do. I really feel that she was a nuisance. I don't think he meant to kill her.
No.
Right, no.
I think he just pushed her away.
Yeah.
And that's happened, and she's still
Well, let's
here.
not end on that tragic moment.
No.
I want to ask you, Michelle, like I asked Jamie and like we ask everyone. What matters most to you? What's the impression you want to leave in this realm?
In this realm, love never dies.
Mm-hmm.
We will reunite with those that we have loved but never lost.
Mm-hmm.
The soul is eternal. It's indestructible. That's the light body within all of us. And that's the part I communicate with. That's the part that I reunite people here on earth with the heavenly realms to heal, to educate, and to let them know they're never alone. And love is God. I mean, let's face it. When you have love in your heart for somebody, I think you're 5 steps up on the progression of soul.
We like to thank both of you for what you do and everything. Really, truly, thank you. And thanks for being on the show. Great. Okay, so now we're going to open it up here to people who have questions for these lovely ladies. And I know one woman over here, Donna, you came up and you mentioned something earlier.
I don't see Elizabeth's father pushing her. He was calling her, and she was running, and I feel she slipped on those rocks. I don't feel he had anything to do with her death, but he takes it on. He's taking it on, so it's coming across like he did it, but I don't see him hurting her.
Okay, so we have another question. What's your name?
Karen.
Karen.
Hi, ladies. I have a quick question. When you come into a place such as the Farmers Hope Inn, Terry was just saying about the generations that this has been a 200-year-old or more building. How do you decipher between the different spirits or ghosts of the different eras that could be in here? I mean, you're talking about the soldier and about Elizabeth, and what makes them stronger than any other spirits that may have been in this building in 200 years?
Emotion is always very powerful. So if someone is in fear, like the soldier that's having his leg cut off, that's a very strong emotion. If someone's very loyal and wants to help someone that's birthing up there, that's a strong emotion. So I really feel that emotions, part of that heart emotion, keeps them here. I don't think they're totally here all the time, do you? I think it has to do with the strong energy.
And I also think it has to do with the ones who love the place, like Stanley. He loved the place. So it was, you go back to where you love the people with the most strongest attachment to the building. Lots of people have probably traveled through here, but not had an attachment to something traumatic happened in their life. or dramatic or positive. It could be positive or negative feelings that keep them here. So I think it's the strength of their emotion, like they said, that keeps them here or makes them show themselves because there's something they need to say.
What could be done to actually free them from being earthbound?
That's their question.
I think getting them to realize that they are crossed, that they are spirit, not in human form anymore, that they've passed on. Getting them to realize that they're not going to be judged harshly when they see the light, that the light's there for love and to help them out, and tell them to go towards the light, tell them not to be afraid and to find their light.
If you've got ghosts like from different times, like Stanley and John, but they both hang out at the bar, do they see each other? I mean, would they literally be like, hey man, what's up? Yo, in the house.
People think souls are finite, but think of a cloud. You can't contain a cloud. So a soul's energy, and it overlaps, overshadows. So in that realm, they can see a bigger picture. And they can connect with each other if they want to, if they have a mutual common thread or interest. For example, Farmers Hope Inn, if there's a common interest here, they'll gather here. So yeah, they can see a big picture.
Well, thank you. This has been absolutely a treat, and thank you to all of you people as well. I think we all deserve a round of applause.
So, here I am getting comfortable here in room number 1, the soldier's room at Farmers Hope Inn. A Confederate soldier had his leg amputated and died slowly and painfully here. A woman desperately raced up and down the stairs to, well, maybe save him, but at least make him comfortable. You know, those of us that are still in this world have so much to be thankful for. And it reminds me and all of us that the simple things in life are what matter most. Namaste and good night.